towards the end there, I just wanted to get coffee just to get through the day because tomorrow will be better. There's that, denial, tomorrow will be better. And so I get down on the street level, and I remember it was a bright sunny day and the coffee shop was only 1 block away. And I started making progress, and next thing you know, I'm just leaning against a wall, retaining wall, and traffic zooming by, pedestrians are kind of skirting by me, and I'm just really doing everything I can not to collapse at that moment. And all I can think about, I can't get one leg in front of the other. I'm really confused, and thankfully and embarrassing so, a couple coworkers came by, saw me, and they wanted to call the ambulance. And I was like, please, no, please just get me back and call on my husband. And they did that, and my husband took one look at me and he's like, why don't you just leave? This job's killing you.
Thomas Green here with Ethical Marketing Service. On the episode today, we have Simone Giangiordano. Simone, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Thomas. I really appreciate you having me on here today.
It is my pleasure. Would you like to take a moment and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. So I work primarily with individuals who have any type of health challenge that's impacting their day-to-day life or ability or confidence around running their business. And I help them create the lifestyle and business that supports their health, their well-being, and the success that they desire. And I'm located in Florida, and I guess I'll share a few of my favorite things is walking at the ocean, conversations, and coffee. And when you put all three of those together, I consider those the trifecta.
Well, thank you for the introduction. In terms of who you might work with, can you give me some examples of who that might be?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It could be individuals who are leaving the corporate world or workplace because of health challenges. That's what I started back in 2008. It wasn't burnout. It was more my health. I just could not keep going with the health issues I was having. It also could be individuals who have had chronic health challenges for some time, and they've gotten into that cycle, what I like to say, the cycle of setbacks. They're able to push, make progress, and then things just kind of like they're struggling day to day again. And it's that start and reboot. And if individuals understand that what it's like to just get through each day physically, then they know what I mean there. And also individuals who maybe have a sudden onset of illness. For example, one individual, she all of a sudden had major symptoms come on where she had struggled to use her hands and sit at a computer, focus and everything. So in working together, she took a look at what her passions are, what her skills are, and accepting her limitations, and started a whole new business that didn't require her to use her hands in the same way. So those are probably the three primary situations.
Thank you for that. Based on your own experience and also perhaps how the stories you've learned from others, what has it been like for others from the perspective of being supported by an employer? Or what's it like being an employee and having health challenges in your view?
It can be very challenging because of culture. And I left in 2008, and culture has shifted some, but there's a long ways to go. And if it's invisible illnesses, there, even within the visible disability, there's still the issue of boards for around that, having individuals who have no disability, so they don't really understand the needs. So when you take that to the level of invisible disabilities, there's almost this prove it to me, maybe kind of thing. So it causes a lot of stigma. And that causes individuals to try to keep pushing and to do the things the way everybody else is doing. And if your health isn't able to handle that, if you need to take breaks, if you need to take rest, if you maybe need a different ergonomic setup because of pain, but people can't see that, it's really hard to get the support you need. And so I'll admit there were times where I heard other people whispering about me. Because I had so many different health challenges, I have like 20 plus diagnoses, plus I have severe back and neck injuries. And when an executive had had hip surgery and was on stage a number of weeks later, I heard a snide remark from somebody on a team that I worked with, and it was in reference to me. Because I had a broken ankle, but I was on weight bearing for 3 months. So like, look at him, he's older and he's up there on stage, and like, so here she is, still struggling. So there's this perception of weakness a lot of times with these kinds of health challenges. And that causes individuals all the more a lot of times to go inside and to hold it within and to try to just push through. And then that makes it all the harder to manage the health challenges that need managed, because it causes denial. I guess, does that make sense? It's really hard to accept sometimes the changes that you need to make to support your own well-being, the changes that you need to make to advocate for yourself, and maybe even the changes that you need to make to really reevaluate where you're at. And is this still serving you, or is it time to find a new solution?
Thank you for that. And I'm sorry that you, for lack of a better term, had to be around people like that. I might be wrong about this, but I think that most likely those people are always going to be there, and we can't change them. So what could you do if you were in the same position watching this? What could that person do in order to cope with that type of idiocy?
Anymore with diversity and equity and inclusion becoming so much stronger. I mean, that was something I hardly heard about when I was in the workforce. I would think going to human resources. If not, I think it might also depend on your manager. Who can you talk to at your workplace? And, then it's a personal decision to decide what to share and what not to share. Because as much as we'd like to say, hey, people can't hold that against you, unconsciously people can. So I think it's a personal decision based on your comfort level, based on the work culture and everything. And do you have a good enough relationship with the person who maybe said something to calmly talk with them and explain, hey, this is where I'm coming from, not to get defensive back, that always avoid the defensive aspect, but to maybe get a little understanding. For example, I used to fall a lot, and I also went home at lunchtime until I had found the right kind of surgery to help with the falling. And I would laugh. I would fall and then laugh, because it's like, what are you going to do? And I'd get up and keep going. And one day I just was really struggling. And I made a comment, because I didn't like to talk about my health challenges. And I made a comment, boy, like my legs are really acting up today. And a coworker overheard me, and she burst out laughing. And she thought I had been drinking. So we had a good laugh about it. And, she's wonderful. She was wonderful. We were friends. We became friends more so after that. But people don't know what to say. So by her just understanding, that solved that.
It's a common thing, I think, with diabetes, that people have issues with diabetes, and it's misdiagnosed by the person that finds them if they're having an issue that they think it's drink or something, which is unfortunate. You do advocate, I think, entrepreneurship as an alternative. Would you like to share why that is?
Yes, absolutely. When I left the workforce, like I said, I had been in I fell and had a bad neck and back injury 4 days after our honeymoon. And there were so many accidents that day that the ambulance never even got to me. It was an hour and a half later, my husband got to me because of gridlock traffic with ice and everything. And that on top of all the health challenges I was having, it just over time, it flared everything up. I didn't understand what was going on. And I was working at a large bank at the time in systems. And so I had a pretty high pressure job there with a system implementation, rolling out projects to 3,000 plus people. And, I was just trying to get through the day. Literally, I got to where I would really struggle to focus cognitively, maybe slurring words, my legs just, I was moved so slowly because my whole body was in so much pain. And for example, this one towards the end there, I just wanted to get coffee just to get through the day because tomorrow will be better. There's that, denial. Tomorrow will be better. And so I get down on the street level, and I remember it was a bright sunny day and the coffee shop is only 1 block away. And I started making progress. And next thing you know, I'm just leaning against a wall, retaining wall, and traffic zooming by. Pedestrians are kind of skirting by me. And I'm just really doing everything I can not to collapse at that moment. And all I can think about, I can't get one leg in front of the other. I'm really confused, and thankfully and embarrassing so, a couple coworkers came by, saw me, and they wanted to call the ambulance. And I was like, please, no, please just get me back and call on my husband. And they did that. And my husband took one look at me and he's like, why don't you just leave? This job's killing you. And I was like, what? And we talked that night, and I went back in and I gave 5 weeks notice.
Well, for those that aren't aware of your previous health concerns, or what you have to go through on a day-to-day basis, the reason I ask is because when people are struggling, I find if there is someone watching going through the same thing, if you can help them with your experience, then that's a very valuable thing for them to hear. So do you mind sharing perhaps what advice you would give someone who's going through the same thing that you were back then when you're in employment?
Yes. If you're in an employment still, is really reevaluating where you're at. Do you have the support, or can you get the support around your needs at your current workplace with the individuals on your team, your manager or HR, or even if there is a diversity, equity, and inclusion area? And if that's still a struggle, talking with people to maybe see if you can take a look at things differently, and keep in mind that it's hard for people to understand what they can't see. And sometimes when you look at it like that, that can also help how we address things. Are there ways that you can advocate for yourself by talking with individuals in a non-defensive way, just so they understand where you're coming from? And if the situation's still not going to work for you, not going to meet your needs, then taking a look, and is it time to find a new position, or is it time to go out on your own? Or what are your other options? What will best serve you? What will best serve your well-being? What will best serve your long-term goals and lifestyle?
Thank you for that. And you started off with virtual assistants, you said. Is that what you're currently doing now?
Yes. No. I, after my third shutdown due to health with that business, I rebranded as a marketing boutique business. And I actually opened a storefront, and since 2008, that first business, migrated into a marketing business. And I actually still have that going as my second business. And in 2017, I started really going inward. What is it that I want to do in addition to this? And in 2018, then I started working on my current business, which is lifestyle business coaching, specifically for individuals who have health challenges. I started that, and I launched it in 2019.
And how's it been going?
Good. Yeah. It's very rewarding to work with individuals and to be able to support in a way that a lot of people don't understand. And the funny thing is, I think it's currently sitting at about 43% or more that have one or more diagnosed chronic health challenges. So I think that says a lot about societal norms, and that, like, if this is a huge population that has challenges, so why isn't there more support? Why isn't there more understanding? Why is there so much doubt? Why is it so hard to be understood? I think those are some questions that, can be examined by different people and places and organizations. And many of those have more than one. So I think that's something that, as more and more people start to question, can really help to shift culture, shift options, shift how people can work around their needs and so forth.
What are your thoughts on why that's the case?
Like any social cause, things start out slow. And there's almost, there's this encouragement almost to hide things. And if we back up and look too, there's very few people who live with optimal health. It's one thing to say how many people have health challenges. It's another to say how many have optimal health, and it's quite few. So even if someone doesn't have health challenges, there's so much more you can do for better well-being, better health. So I think there's so many factors going on that, for example, how many people even think about having optimal well-being? How many people even really think that it's in their control? And we've gotten so used to, as society, not feeling great, and that's normal. Well, it's normal to be tired. It's normal to, have this going on. That's just normal. And so it causes individuals, I think, to also deny and push through then.
What do you mean by choose courage,
there's a lot
not
of
norms?
factors. Yeah. So choose courage is to really accept and embrace your challenges. And when you do that, it's stepping outside of what other people think you might be doing. It's advocating for yourself in a way that supports your well-being. It's actually the courage to also to even accept your own limitations. And I'll share this. When I was caregiving for my father, I pulled my marketing business back to half because I wanted to be there. I really believe there's a lot of value to leaning into the hard times in our life. And personally, sometimes those have ended up as a result being some of my best times. The times that have been most inspirational have brought me a lot of peace. And caregiving for my father was one of those times. So I like to say that, I pulled my business back so that I could, as a gift, be there for my father. But his gift to me was the life lesson that all that matters in the end is the impact we have and the love we share. And when I sat back and thought about that, that was what shifted for me so that I could start my lifestyle and business coaching, because I had to have the courage to say, to quit trying to hide all these health challenges, quit trying, even though I'd already worked through so much over so many years, and I had built the business that was flexible and I had grown it to the 6 figures and I was successful, I still wasn't letting people, I was still trying to hide things. I was still trying to hide how bad I hurt. I was still trying to hide that I still couldn't look up. I didn't look up for over 11 years. I was still trying to, still sometimes just saying, well, I'm just tired today. Well, I just have pain today, but it was every day. Most, you know what I mean? So it took a lot of courage to actually start to share that I was struggling this much. But yes, I had built my business around my needs. I had it successful, but there's another whole level of courage that when we accept it and when we embrace it, it can become our strength.
And what would you say to someone who is hiding how much they're suffering, for lack of a better term?
That I understand. That I understand. And it starts with self-awareness. I like to say go inward to go outward. And when you sort of just take time, pause, I like to say the power of the pause, when you step back and really think about how it's impacting you. What are you losing from an opportunity perspective by hiding? Why are you hiding? Ask yourself these hard questions. And it's easy, to be honest, that you don't even realize you are. It just becomes your normal. It just simply becomes your normal and you don't even realize it. So that first thing is awareness that you are. And once you have that awareness, acknowledge it, and then you can start to accept whatever your challenges are. And I think this applies to any kind of challenge in life, is about accepting it. And once you accept it and say, that's okay, that doesn't define me, then you can start to develop the solutions. you can start to shift your mindset around it. You can start to let go of hurts from stigma around it, self-doubt and shame that has maybe developed over the years because of trying to hide it. And I think, again, that this is really across the board with so many types of life challenges. So the health challenges don't define you. And I honestly think, when you look from an overall well-being, which I incorporate as the 7 areas, there's individuals who have no health challenges, but they're not happy at all. So from an overall well-being perspective, that doesn't even mean that they have greater overall well-being. And I know other individuals who have several health conditions and they might really struggle day to day physically, but because they have a full life in other areas and because they're aligned with their spiritual, their beliefs and values, and they have the social support they need and so forth, and have worked on their mental and emotional well-being, that they can live so much more fully than somebody who hasn't examined some of those areas and stuff. So just like, I don't want to say things are a gift, but when we work with our challenges, we can minimize those and sort of balance out the other areas so that we still live fully, can share our gifts. And that's something that I really think is important. When you have health challenges, it's to a certain level, you can get into that just getting by, and you're maybe literally just trying to get by day to day, and so forth, or feel you are. And we can lose a sense of self sometimes. And when you start to become more aware and regain that, then you can use that to fuel yourself forward and to help share your gifts. And I do think it's a gift to be able to share our gifts. And that's why this is so important to me, because there are so many individuals because of health challenges who are underemployed, not employed, on disability, because it's so hard to get off of and get that level of balance in your life to be able to sustain. That I think it's really important there.
Thank you for the answer. I got maybe one thing to point out, which is something that you already mentioned about in terms of the why, which is, I think people are a bit scared of judgment, which is something that you obviously went through. And then maybe people seeing it as a weakness as well, which is also something that you mentioned. But your answer made me realize, you've got a lot of experience in dealing with pain and living with it. I don't know how frequently you feel it, but I think I'd regret if I didn't ask you for the purpose of others. How do you manage it on a day-to-day basis, and what have you found that makes it somewhat better, if that's the right word?
Absolutely. There's a lot there. I like to look at life that everything gives us energy or drains it. And if you have any type of health challenge, the more you can do that brings energy that doesn't drain it, the more you're going to be able to support your well-being. And so I'm going to just try to go through several things here quickly. So from an environment perspective, ergonomics are so important if you have pain. There's been periods where I ran my business out of bed so that I was supported, and I could because I couldn't lift my arms this high at the time. And then there were times, I tried to get back to the desk and the pain was unbearable. And then pain can cause extreme exhaustion and fatigue. So you start to look at what's the cost that when you look at the cost of unmanaged pain, it can be losing your business. It can be losing clients. It can be not being able to take on great opportunities. And you start to think of the emotional impact and the social impact. So it's like, what can you do to manage that the best you can? So there were also times that I worked out of a chair with my head propped up. And then you start to put a value on there, maybe not exact dollar amount, but say, hey, this is really impacting my life. And to approach that with curiosity and openness and intuition to build a dream team, individuals who can help you with that challenge. And it could be that maybe you're not in a spot to get help with that right now, but to stay open and curious. I eventually, after working with several people, I used to be in a Iyengar yoga where there was 5 of us. We each had our own custom program around our own physical needs. And there were three teachers there for 5 people. So that was something I did different outside of conventional medicine, in addition to support being able to manage better. So taking a look at your environment, taking a look at who can help you, and realizing sometimes something that seems little can open the door to get over 3 more hurdles. You just never know when that breakthrough is going to come. So stay, as hard as it is sometimes, to be grateful for what you can do, and to, give your body a lot of rest. If my pain is increasing, I'm also increasing my rest. And then also lifestyle habits. Sleep does matter. I know it sounds so basic. Nutrition does matter. Again, I know it sounds so basic, but if you have inflammation going on, and that's going to make chronic pain all the worse, who can help you with that? So it's like to say again about the dream team. The dream team is people who can help you with your well-being, people who can help you with different aspects of your business and maybe movement and so forth. And then also staying socially engaged is very important, for pain management, from the perspective of it gives us good energy. Does it take the pain away? No, but it does overall help. And also just living in alignment is, I really think, so important to managing our overall well-being. And then not feeling like you need to apologize for pain days. And that's also important. And being able to build, if you have your own business, being able to build that business in a way that enables you to take a break, that enables you to get the help you need, like whether it's massages, acupuncture, any kind of other modalities that can assist with that, can be incredibly important. And it's going to vary by individuals. I'm very fortunate. My husband has become very good at helping me with pain management. And there are days, and this is why, like, pre-pandemic, my whole concept was building your business around day-to-day uncertainties or weekly uncertainties, or wherever individuals are. There are days that I wake up and I have trouble getting dressed. I have different pain tricks, like counting to 60. And if it's too hard for that, counting to 10. And if that's too hard, it's counting to 1 over and over. Just knowing that from an impermanence, pain is not going to last. And I know I'm going to get through it. It's going to maybe be a hard several hours. It can be a very hard several hours, but I know I'm going to get through it. And I've built my business in a way that I can 90+% of the time not have to move anything, not have to shift any appointments or anything, and keep it going from that perspective. So does that answer your question?
I think it was a great answer. Thank you. And I think
it's not, and to know that it's not easy, and it's okay that doesn't define you.
I think it's a great message as well. So I appreciate you sharing it. I think the more it's talked about, and the more there are some solutions out there, I think it's only a positive thing. So I guess there's a well done to you for being here and sharing your message.
Thank you.
Is there anything I should have asked you about today?
I think just real quick, when you look at building your business, I'd like to put this out there, and you want to support your well-being, and you have things that you can share value with others. I truly believe the world's a better place when we all share our gifts. And unfortunately, there are millions and millions of people struggling to do that because of health challenges. So when you realize, yes, your gifts are important. Your gifts are important to the world. They're important to those around you, and the impact that we have real close or far away, it doesn't have to be big impacts. But when you look at life that way, and you look then, okay, how do you, with health challenges, engage in that? The best is when you look to build your business is looking at your needs first. What do you need physically around your needs? What kind of lifestyle do you need? How much time can you reasonably work in a day or a week, and being honest with that to avoid that cycle of setbacks of push, push, push. I can do this to, oh my gosh, I'm down. I can't work now. What do I do? It starts with being honest with yourself and building your business model, building your long-term strategy around that. So instead of looking at, oh my gosh, I want to make this much money and I'm going to make it in 90 days. Can you do it? Yes. But at what cost? Looking at it from that perspective of sustainability, of what's the lifestyle you really want. There's a lot of what I like to kind of think of as a glorified lifestyle, that every day is a vacation. So when we start to look at it from that perspective, what are your financial needs? And then you can always grow the business, but get that foundation of your business, get the systems that help you sustain day to day, sustain the uncertainties around your health. Then you bring more peace to your life. And so it's getting rid of the chaos and bringing more peace to your life, which is good for anybody's well-being.
Thank you for that. There was one thing which I wanted to ask you about, because it's one of the things you're happy to talk about, and it's how to achieve business success alongside compromised health. But my question specifically is, what does success mean to you?
Thank you so much. Perfect question. Success to me is defined by you. That's the letting go of societal and cultural norms. For me personally, success is not about a ton of money. It's not about a lot of luxury. It's about being able to take time each day, walk down to the ocean. We're 1,800 feet from the ocean, enjoy a sunrise or enjoy a stroll along the ocean. Be able to obviously have, the home in a way that's comfortable and peaceful and supports our needs. Having the space in my lifestyle to visit with friends, to be there for loved ones, and being able to share my impact of helping others, live better, feel better, live a better lifestyle so that they can share their gifts. That to me is my success. And I think it's very important for everyone to define your own success. And really, I like to say, to truly thrive, we have to first let go. And a lot of that is letting go of societal norms, letting go of cultural expectations, letting go of how others think we should do things, and looking internally and what works best for you. How can you be there the best for others?
I particularly liked your point about who can, if you're, let's say you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, who can do the various different tasks that you need doing when, let's say you're not feeling 100%. And the reason why I like it is also because there is actually plenty of advice out there which says that as a business owner or an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be doing certain things. You should be delegating as much as possible. So for those people who,
yes,
let's say they'd be better off being in that position as a business owner, it is actually better advice for them to delegate than it is to try and do it themselves. So just thought it was worth mentioning.
And that can include household chores too, when it comes to like food prep, helping. Honestly, that was one of the first things I hired out when we were caregiving for my father, because I knew how important it was that I ate the right foods for me. And I also knew how much energy it was going to take to be there for my dad and family. So that was one of the very first things we hired out for, was help in our own kitchen, so that we could eat
I'll
healthy
delegate to my
have
3
that energy.
little ones. See if I can get them to do some housework. Yeah.
Exactly.
For people who are interested in learning more about you and maybe hire you as a coach, where do they find you?
Yes, you can go to my website at simoneg.net, and my links to different social platforms are there. And if you are interested in figure out who's the best person to help me right now to be on my dream team, you can go to bounceupyourdreamteam.com, and there is a guide with 5 steps to figure out who that best person is right now. Because it does take a lot of people. We don't do this alone. And the stronger our team around our personal needs, our values and everything, then the better we're off.
Okay, well, I reiterate what I said before, which is I think it's great that you're sharing your message. And I think the more you do it, I think the more people you will help. So thank you for doing it. And for all those who are listening or watching, please review the links in the description. And Simone, thank you for being a great guest.
Thank you, Thomas. Thanks for having me.